Hi everyone, Salesforce Development Day 13. So today's agenda is we'll quickly go through the previous review and then we'll talk about the Visual Studio. We'll talk about Visualforce is used in, and Visualforce we can use it in button, we can use it as a link, we can use it as a page link, we can use it as an action, we can use it as a object manager. So whatever the Visualforce pages that we have implemented, so we will see how to use it in different places. And also today we are going to talk about the JavaScript. Then we'll have a quiz and then homework. So what did we learn in last class?
What are the places we can use Visualforce pages in?
Right?
iframe.
You're right. State, view state, VF tab, VF button, how to use the Visualforce on the existing button we have seen in the last class. Right, on the standard button, how to override the standard button. So in this, the first one which we have seen, how to use it in the tab. In last class, we have seen how to use the Visualforce page as a tab. And in the button, we have seen how to update the existing button. If we are updating the standard button, how can we update or how can we override the standard button? So we have seen by updating or by overriding the new button on the account object, so which we have seen in the last session. Now today we will create a new button. When we are creating a new button, in the buttons and link, we have to click on new button or a link, and then there is the page gets opened, which is asking about the new page information. New button, which are the button we wanted to create it. It is asking the label name, and here we are going to select the option in the display type as a detail page button. Detail page button. If you select a detail page button, then the below behavior and content source is getting displayed. Now let's see how to create a new button. Now click on a, go to the account. On the record level, I'm going to create a button. Setup, edit, object. Edit object, and then let's click on a button, links and actions. New button or a link. Click on this new button or a link. Now here new button or a link is let's say we are going to create a new account. Create new account. Now we have to select the detail page button. So when we select the detail page button, how it is going to display on the record level? Let's see here. So it's giving the view examples. Click on this view examples. So like this, it is going to display the option. Edit, delete, clone. Beside that, whatever the button we are creating it is going to add that button beside the what are the existing buttons are there. Let's say new account. Now here there are few options are available. Display new window. So basically let's see the view behavior of this display as. Now if it is a display in new window, it's completely open the new window. If you say existing window, display in existing window with sidebar, then it is going to display as a sidebar. So sidebar in the classic, the sidebar will be displayed, and this side it will be a what are the window that we are opening, it will open up here. Now display in existing window without sidebar. In case if you do not want a sidebar, it will be complete page, it will be displayed. Header will be there. Display existing window without sidebar or a header if you want that. So it will be complete page will be redirected. Now execute the JavaScript. In case if you want to execute the JavaScript, you can execute the JavaScript. So let's take here display in existing window without sidebar. So I'm selecting that, and below we have a 3 content source. One is a URL, another one is a JavaScript, third one is a Visualforce page. URL is in case if you wanted to redirect any URL. We will see going further URL and JavaScript. Now, today we are going to see how to use the content source Visualforce page. When we click on a Visualforce page, it will ask you to enter the Visualforce page name. So by default, it will display the only the Visualforce pages where the standard controller is a account. Only those Visualforce pages will be displayed here. Only those Visualforce pages will be displayed here. Now let's select VF underscore create new account. Create new account. Now click on it, save. Now the one which we have discussed is the one we have just now created is new account. New account, Visualforce pages, we have underscore create a new account. Right? Now in case if you wanted to have a, there are few window open properties like a height, width, if you want to change anything on the open properties, window open properties, click on that button window open properties. It will give you, if you want to increase the height of the window, then you can increase it here. Right, so this is how it is available. Now let me show you first in the classic. So in the classic, let's switch to classic. Now account, let's say lightning page. Now here right now there are 4 buttons are there. What are the button that we have created? It's not available here. So what I'll do is I'll click on this course.com. This is available for everybody. So on the page, you will see there is a one quick access will be there. So which is if you open, it will show you the course.com, and there you have a edit layout. The option is edit layout. So click on this edit layout. When you click on the edit layout, excuse me, edit layout, then we have a button. So the option is which is available here, buttons. Click on this button, whatever the button which we have created, which is a new account. Right, so these are the standard buttons which are displaying it. Now so it is already highlighting it, where should I need to add it? So I need to add it in the custom button. Now click on it, save. Now you can see here, there is a new button which is added, new account. Now if I click on this new account, if I click on this new account, now it will go to the new account, and also it is carrying the ID. Also it is carrying the ID. So basically if you wanted to create it, or because I already have a ID here, I have opened the one record and I already have a ID. So when I click on a new account, it is taking the existing ID and attaching to the latest Visualforce page. So that's the reason by default it is showing the existing record ID details. So like this we can create, or usually on the record level it is like a update record. It is update record. So like this you can update the records using the Visualforce. This is in the classic. Now let me show you in the lightning. In the lightning, if you open the record, now let's click on here. It says new contact, new case, new note. The one which we have created is new account. I cannot see new account. I cannot see new account because button is a classic. Button is a classic. If you add it on the page layout, only it will be displayed in the classic. Only it will be displayed in the classic. Now, for example, if I click on the lightning, I wanted to see that button on the lightning. How can I add that button in the lightning? So click on here, setup, edit page. Click on edit page, open up the record, go to the account and open the record, right? And then click on a setup and then click on the edit page. So if you click on the edit page, that means we are updating the page here. It will go to the lightning page. It will go to the lightning page. So when we click on this lightning page, when we click on this lightning page, now here it is going to, if you just hover this or just click on this, just click on this, and after this, now there is a highlights panel. Highlights panel will be up. If you click on this, it will show you the highlights panel. In this, if you see here, visible action buttons is a 3. That means how many buttons do you want it to display here? If you say, I wanted to display only 2 buttons, I wanted to display only 2 buttons, then it will display only 2 buttons, only 2 buttons. If you say, I wanted to display the 4 buttons, then here it will be updated, it will display the 4 buttons. Right, it's up to the developer or up to the client how many buttons they wanted to display on the page. How many buttons are displayed onto the page. Now if you say 3, it will display the 3. This follow button is a separate. Follow button is separate. It's not into the combination. If you see here, there is a thin gap is there. There is a thin gap between the follow and new contact. There is a thin gap is there. So follow button is a separate. Now if you see here between the follow and what are the buttons are there, those are different. Follow button is a different. Now whenever you update it here, it will just update the group of the buttons. Now if you say here 4 button, it will update a 1, 2, 3, 4. If you say here 3, it will update only 3 group of inside the group. What are the 3 buttons are there? That so follow is a separate. So follow is if you wanted to hide, then you can hide it by selecting this checkbox. By selecting this checkbox, you can hide it. If you wanted to show, uncheck this. So follow button is basically, it's a similar like in the social media. If you wanted to follow anybody, like a LinkedIn, you wanted to follow somebody. In Trailhead, you wanted to follow somebody. So it's the same concept. Follow is also in the Salesforce. So if you wanted to hide it, you can completely hide. Now if you see here, whether it is a displaying the details, but what are the buttons should be displayed is by default it is not available. By default it is not available. Now if I go to the buttons and let's say not the button, page layout. In the page layout, let's go to the account layout. Now whatever this button we have added, it is in the classic. This button, standard button, custom button, whatever we have added, it is in the classic. but I wanted to add in the mobile. I wanted to add in the mobile. So there are two buttons are there. Why there are two buttons? Okay, so the one which we have created is new account. Now what I'll do is I'll drag it and I'll place it here. I'll drag it and I'll place it here. Click on save. Now where did I drag it? I dragged it onto the mobile and lightning. I dragged it onto the mobile and lightning. Now if you select here mobile and lightning, it will show you the which are the one you wanted to drag it. If you click on the button, now this new account is, what are the this new account is that this new account will be dragged here. So if you want to display in the lightning, check whether your whatever the button you have created, whether it is available or not. So I dragged it into the new account. Now let's go ahead and see. Now let's display here for. Now click on save. And the activation. Let's go back. So here it is displaying the new account. Click on this new account. It will be redirected to the our Visualforce page. It will be redirected to the our Visualforce page, right? So ID is by default it will be taken because whatever the data we are entering there, it will be displayed. So I'm clicking on this new button, then it will take me to the new account. New account. What are the Visualforce page that we have created? It will take to the that page. So that's about the Visualforce page, adding in the as a button in the lightning as well as in the classic. In the lightning as well as in the classic. So that's about the detail page button. Now let's see how to add a link. How to add a link. Link is also you need to create new button or a link. Now when you click on a new button or a link, you have to select the detail page link. You have to select the detail page link. Before we have selected the detail page. This time we have to select the detail page link. When we click on the detail page link, now we have to select here behavior content source. Behavior has to be a display new window, and then here it is a Visualforce page. So what are the Visualforce page you want, you can add it. So behavior, you can take either new window or existing window, whatever you want. Right, so let's go ahead and create it. Now, let's click on the buttons, link, action. Now, whatever we have created a new account, so I'll take the same one. Let's open this, click on edit. Now, this time I'm going to select the link, detail page link. Before we have selected the detail page button. Now I'm going to select on the detail page link. If I select a detail page link, how it is going to display? How it is going to display? So it will be displayed on the page. There is like this, it will be displayed. On the page, it will not show on the button. Links does not show on the button. Links are shown on the page layout. Links are shown on the page layout. So it will display like this, my link. What are the my link is there? It will display like my link. Fine, I wanted to save this. Okay, so let's go here, click on here. It is referring into the page. Now let me take out from the page. I'll take out this button. And also I'll take out this new account. Click on quick save. Now click on this save. Now it is it. So the error which we were getting is because we are referenced that in the page button is already available on the page. So if you are changing the existing one, So what will happen? It will ask you if there is any references are there. It will first ask you to remove the references from the existing. Remove the references from the existing. First remove it, then add the link. Then add the link. Now this is a create custom button or a link detail, new account. New account. Now this is how it is going to display the information. Now we have added the link right now. Now if you click on this, it says Visualforce page. This is the Visualforce page. Display type is a detail page link. Now let's go ahead and refresh the page. In the page, I am going to add a custom link. There is an option called custom link. I am going to add a custom link onto the bottom here. There is a custom links header is already available. Inside that, I am going to add a new account. This is not a button. This is a link. This is a link. Let's click on a quick save. Now let me show you in the classic. Now let's go to the account. Open the record. At the bottom, you will see there is a custom link which is available. New billing, new account. Billing is the one which Salesforce has provided. Now, new account is the one which we have created. If I click on a new account, it will go to the Visualforce page. We have created new account. Automatically, it is carrying the ID. Right, so that is the link that we are providing there. Right. Similarly, in the Lightning, so here in the Lightning, click on the details. Go to the bottom of the screen. Now here it is new account. Click on this new account. It will open up the Visualforce page. This is the Visualforce page. Now whatever the action you wanted to do, you can do the action. You can do the action. Now that is how we are going to add the link on the Visualforce page. On the page layout, we can add a link by referring the Visualforce page. And the next one is a page layout. Directly on the page layout, I wanted to add a Visualforce page. I wanted to add a Visualforce page directly on the page layout. Directly on the page layout. So far, what did we discuss? So far, we have discussed in the page layout, right? How to add a custom link, how to add a button. So we have discussed how to add a button, how to add a custom link, and then mobile and lightning actions. We have discussed about these three. Adding a button, adding a action, mobile and lightning action, adding a custom links. These are the one which we have discussed. Now the next one is, can I place directly my Visualforce page here? Can I place directly the Visualforce page? Now for example, tab panel is there. I can drag it and place it here, the Visualforce tab. I can directly paste it here. So what I'll do is, let me add a section. So let's say here, this is another section. Section is a Visualforce page. And it's just a one column. Click on OK. Now this, I'm going to place it here, Visualforce page. Visualforce page, and then click on Save. Now the page layout is updated. Now let me switch to the classic. Lightning page. Now I can see the Visualforce page here. Now it takes some time in order to load it. So this is the Visualforce page, and below we have a account information, account record. Right, so this is the logo. Now if you click on this logo, it is going to display the logo. and this is the account owner information, and this is account information. Right, this is the account information, and then we have other details. Other details on username. These are the other details. So this is the Visualforce page. In the account, on the page layout, directly we can display the Visualforce page. Directly we can display the Visualforce page on the page layout. Now let's switch to the Lightning experience. Now here I'm going to click on the details page. Let's right click, inspect, refresh. And click on details page. It takes some time. Now what I'll do is let me open in incognito. Login.salesforce.com. Now for salesforce@gmail.com, click on login. What is the user here? April batch. Okay. Click on this remind me later. Now once we click on remind me later, let's go to the sales application. Now I'll click on account. Now let's open the page, Lightning page, and click on the details section. Now here it is the Visualforce which is displaying it. It takes some time to load it. So this is the Visualforce page. Now it will give you the complete information of the Visualforce page. So this is the other information in the, which is a tab panel. So here it is, Swapna logo, and then account owner information and account information. Click on other, right? Now these are the information from the Visualforce page. It is displaying it. And below are the account records. So this is on the Visualforce page how we can add the details. This is how Visualforce page can be added onto the page layout. And the next one is action. There is a one option which is available here beside the new button or link. There is an option called new action. So this is new action is only specific to the Lightning. Now in case if you wanted to add a new action, now you can create a new action and you can add it. You can add it. Now here in the account layout, now we have seen the mobile lightning action. Right now we are going to see the quick action. Now let's go to the buttons and links. Click on this new action. Now when we click on the new action, it will ask what is the action type. Do you want to create a record, or do you want it to log a call, or do you want to custom Visualforce, or do you want it to update the record, or Lightning component, or a Lightning web component, or flow? Which one you wanted to do? You wanted to go for a custom Visualforce, then select a custom Visualforce. Now I'm selecting the Visualforce page here, create a new account. And what is the height? What is the height? Do you want it to follow to 50 pixels? And the label is, let's say here the label is, let's say I'm going to say new custom. I'm creating the new custom. Click on this save. Now I'm going to add it onto the page layout. Right, so click on here, go to the quick action. Now we have added the new custom. New custom. If I hover this, it is going to ask me that where should I need to paste it. So I'll put it on with the quick action in Salesforce Classic Publisher. Quick action in the Salesforce Classic Publisher. Click on it, save. Right, so let me switch to the Classic. Right now we have added the new quick action. Now let's say here account. I'm opening here Visualforce page one record I'm getting open. Now I cannot see the button. I cannot see whatever the button is there, right? So we have added the button, which is a new custom button we have added. So that I cannot see here. Now let's click on switch to lightning. Let me open in the incognito. Login.salesforce.com. Click on login. Let's go to the sales application. Let's click on account. In the account, let's say lightning page. In the lightning page, what did we added? We have added the new custom. New custom is the quick action, but I cannot see the quick action here. I cannot see quick action, not available here also. So what are the new quick action we have added? We have added the quick action. Let's open again. Now here is the quick action, new custom which we have added here, but I cannot see the new quick action. Now let's click on here, edit page. On this record, click on edit page. Now click on this button, header. What are this header highlight panel is there? Click on this highlight panel. Now, if you observe, there is a one option which is available. In case if you are still not able to see the quick action here, so here is the option which is called as a upgrade to dynamic action. Upgrade to dynamic action. So click on this upgrade now. Should be fine. Let's migrate and click on the next. Now, account layout, click on the finish. Now, here we have a different quick actions are available. The one which we have added is new custom. Now, whatever we have added on the page layout, quick action, new custom we have added here. Can I see the new custom here? These all are the quick action, like a new task, new contact, new case. Now, if you go here, new task, new contact, new case, these all are the quick action. But new custom, I'm not able to see here. Am I able to see the new custom here? I'm not able to see the new custom. So how can we add it? Click on the add action. Now here it is asking me to add an action, which is a new custom. Click on done. Now what I'll do is I'll put it onto the top. Let's bring this on the top. No. Before the log call, I am adding it. Before the log a call, where is it? New custom. Before the new case, I am adding the new custom. Now click on the save. Now let's go back. Click on here. Am I able to see new custom? Click on refresh. Here it is, a new custom. New custom is available. Click on this new custom. It will open up the Visualforce page. New custom, and this is the Visualforce page. This is a quick action. Quick actions always open up the model. Quick action is always open up the model. Any questions so far?
Ma'am, do we have any functional difference between action and button?
Sorry?
Do we have any functional difference between quick action and button?
Functionality differences, no. Displaying the button, displaying the action is a different, but there is a no functionality behind that. So whatever the logic that we have implemented, it will work the same logic. But where it is going to display is depending on the which one you are creating it. If you are creating a new button or a link, it will be available in both the Lightning and a classic. If you create a new button or a new link, Lightning, it is going to display the button. Lightning, it is going to display the button, as well as in the classic also it is going to display the button. But the only thing what you need to do is, if it is a button, you need to add it in the button, in the visual, in the page layout, there is a button option is available in the page layout. Now here you have a button option, standard button. If you wanted to display in this classic, you need to add it in the standard button. If you want to display in the lightning, you need to add it into the mobile and lightning experience. But both the places you can see the button or a link. Whereas the action is only applicable to the lightning. Only applicable to the lightning. You cannot see the actions in the classic. So that's it. There is no functionality differences, nothing is there. Viewing the button, viewing the action will be different. Right? No. The next one which we have is object manager. Object manager. Now, if it is a object manager, now how can you display the on the object manager? Object manager means what? When we go to the setup, and here we have a object manager. So you can include the Visualforce page on the object manager also. You can include the Visualforce page on the object manager also. Now basically the object manager section allows you to manage the setting related standard or a custom object. You can see all the listed objects. So that means buttons are automatically created in the Visualforce page. Now here you have an option called, while creating the object, custom object, you have a something called, either you wanted to go with the standard Salesforce, or do you wanted to use the Visualforce page, or do you wanted to use the Visualforce page. Now let's click on here, create custom object. So when we click on a create custom object, now it is going to ask bottom. Now here it is asking that help setting. Do you wanted to open the standard Salesforce, or do you wanted to go with the Visualforce? Or do you wanted to go with Visualforce? If you want to go with the Visualforce page, then select the Visualforce page. Here, any Visualforce page you can select it. For example, iframe I'm selecting. Any Visualforce page, you can select it. Let's create it. VF page. I'm creating the Visualforce page custom object by using the Visualforce page. Now let's say click on this, create a custom tab, click on it, save. Let's click on the tab icon and then click on the next button. Click on the next button and then click on next button and then click on save. Now here is the VF page. VF underscore page underscore underscore C. VF underscore page underscore underscore C. So this is the page object manager. Custom object is created. I have created a custom object using the Visualforce page. Now let's go here, refresh. Click on this. Now let's search the VF page. VF pages. Now click on this VF pages. It's normal custom object. You will not see any differences. Any differences you will not see. Now click on the new button. It will ask you to enter the default Visualforce page. It will be default Visualforce page, for example. So let's say that this is a new record. Click on save. Now record is created. So that means you can refer any Visualforce page. Right, this kind of a scenario is very rare in the real time. We do not use it. We do not refer the Visualforce page in the while creating the custom object. Hardly, I have not seen so far anything, but this is the flexibility is there with the custom object. While creating the custom object, you can refer the Visualforce page, but in real time, we do not do it. We do not do it. We do not refer the Visualforce page while creating the custom object. So Visualforce pages can be used in tab, can be used in button, can be used in link, can be used in page layout, can be used in action, and can be used in object manager. Tab is, now you can go to the tabs, setting, setup, search for a tabs, and then you can click on a new button. On Visualforce. On the Visualforce section. Next one is a button. So go to the object manager. Go to specific object. Specific object. Go to specific object. And then search for and then click on buttons, links, and action, and then click on the button or link. Then you can create a button. Now this button will be, if you add on the page layout, add the button on page layout. Now in the, how do you add in the standard button? Now there is a custom button is there, custom button section on the page layout. Add the button on custom button section in page layout. So that button will be displayed in Classic. Now, if you add the button on the mobile and lightning quick action, then the button will be displayed on lightning. This is the button. And the next one is a link. Link, go to the object manager, click on this, go to the specific object, and then click on the buttons link action, click on the button or a link. Add a custom link on page layout. Custom link section. Custom link section. That is the link. And the next one is page layout. Page layout. Go to the object manager. Go to the object manager. Go to specific object and click on page layout. Right side. Left side. Click on Visualforce page. Visualforce page. Then select the related Visualforce page. Drag onto the page. Next action. Action, go to the custom object, go to the object manager and go to the specific object and click on the buttons, links and actions, and then click on the action button. Action button. Now create a button, create a quick action. Add the quick action. On the lightning page. Lightning page. Object manager. Go to Object Manager. Click on Custom Object. Click on Custom Object. Click on Custom Object. And in the Custom Object, specify the option. There is one option which is available. What was the option name? Let's go here. Edit details. Context sensitive help setting. Select open a window using a Visualforce page. On context sensitive help setting option. Now take a notes of it.
Ma'am, can you give one real scenario where we can use the object manager?
That's what I have mentioned. In the real time, we do not use the Visualforce page in the object manager. Done? No. If you go here, so we have an object limit. We have an object limit. In this object limit, on the object manager, we have a something called object limit. In this object limit, it is going to show you that all the filters, rules, right? Validation rules, workflow rules, approval process, custom fields, relationship, sharing rules, and total workflows. We look up how many you can create it, what is the limit that is available here. But how many quick actions can I add it here? Is there any restriction? How many actions or how many we can create a maximum? Now if I go to the edit page, not this one, let's go back to the account. Click on this one record and click on the edit page. Edit page. Now, how many quick actions can be displayed here? How many quick action can be displayed is decided here, visible action button. But how many actions can I accept here? Now I can keep on adding it. I can keep on adding whatever I wanted, I can add it here. Click on done. So how many we have added so far? It's more than 20. So basically there is no limit on this, but in real time, either we can go to the maximum of 10 or 10 quick action. Otherwise, customer itself will get confused. If I create a more than 10 quick actions here, customer itself is confused because if we add more buttons onto the same page, customer does not know which button should be created. So that's the reason in the real time, maximum we keep it as a limit as a 10. That is a good user interface. So if you are keep on adding the multiple buttons here, it will accept the multiple buttons, but it's not the right way to add it. So that's the reason we have a basic limit. So the here instead of showing the all the 10 quick actions or 10 buttons here, instead of showing that what are the major buttons are there which are always used, is you can display at the starting and you can limit only 3. And then here you have a menu button. In the menu button, you can display maximum 5 buttons or 6 buttons. So totally either overall maximum we can display the 10 buttons. We cannot exceed more than 10 as a user experience, as a good user experience. So next topic is JavaScript. Now when I say JavaScript, what is exactly that we are going to use? So I'm not going to explain everything in the JavaScript, but how can we write the JavaScript in the Visualforce page? Now, so far we have implemented so many Visualforce pages, right? So we have implemented so many Visualforce pages we have implemented. Now, in this Visualforce page, I wanted to do some kind of a validation. There are two type of a validation. There are two type of a validation. One is, for example, this is a Visualforce page, right? on the Visualforce page, when I'm writing the Visualforce page, if I wanted to calculate here, for example, I have a three numbers are there. Three numbers are there. Now, out of these three numbers, I wanted to find out the highest number. Highest number I wanted to find out. Highest number I wanted to find out. If I wanted to find out the highest number, for example, first number is a 66 and second number is around 33 and the third number is around 22. Now in this, which one is the highest number and provide me the value of that. In order to do this logic, there are two ways I can implement it. One is I can call server side logic, which is a apex. I can call server side logic, which is a apex. So this is a server side logic. This is server side logic. Server side logic, which is apex. I can call the apex and then I can return the value to the Visualforce page. So all the calculation I can do it here in the logic I can implement, checking the which one is the highest, which one is the lowest number. I can do all the logic and return the final value to the Visualforce page. Either I can do this or else the other one is on the Visualforce page itself. That means client-side logic, which is called as a client-side logic. Instead of going to the server side, only in the client side. Only client side, I can implement a few logic. Few logic I can implement in the client side. So if I go to the server side, server is sitting somewhere. So there will be a delay you will see. But client side is nothing but on the Visualforce page itself, you will be implementing the logic. You will be implementing the logic. So while executing the Visualforce, you need not to send any details to the server side within the Visualforce itself. Client side only, you can write some logic here and it will on fly, it is going to check which one is the highest value and immediately it will give you the response on the client side. Client side is nothing but when you are on the Chrome, for example, now here we are on the Chrome. In the Chrome, whenever there is a issues are happening here, immediately I wanted to receive the information or I wanted to write the logic here. So let's take some example of HTML. Let's go to the HTML. Let's search HTML page. And if you go to the HTML example, now let's say here, we have a tag server, right? So it says, try it yourself, try it yourself. Now, for example, if there is any error is there, if there is any error, as soon as I click on a run, immediately the logic is running on the client side. That means the logic is executing here within the page. The logic is getting executed within the page. That means on this client side, it is getting executed. On the client side, it is getting executed, right? So it is not going to the server. It is just executing the client side and then displaying the errors on the page itself. On the page itself. That means do the logic validation in the page rather than going to the server and getting the result. Do the validation within the page and then you can display the what are the validations are there, you can display the validations there. You can display the validations, right? So that you can do it using the Visualforce page. That you can do it using the Visualforce pages. Now here we have a HTML. Okay. So that you can do it directly in the Visualforce page. So in order to do that in the Visualforce page, we need somebody's help. That help is JavaScript is going to provide it. Rather than going to the Apex, I can do some kind of a validation within the JavaScript. So it's a basic logic. We use it, basic validation or basic calculation in the Salesforce for a basic calculation or a basic validation or a rendering or kind of a very basic information. We use a JavaScript. So JavaScript is a lightweight. It's a lightweight cross-platform object-oriented language. It's a lightweight cross-object class cross-platform object-oriented programming language. What will do, it will enable the dynamic interactivity on the website when applied to an HTML document. And JavaScript is compiled language. It is always compiled language, but it is a translated language. That means it can be translated to any other language. We can write the JavaScript within the Visualforce page, and we will see how it is getting converted when we execute in the website. And JavaScripts are used in the client-side validations. We use it in the client-side validations. So in our case, we use it either displaying the pop-up window, dialog boxes, or do you want it to confirm the dialog box? We can use the JavaScript, or maybe you can use the JavaScript for a simple calculation, right? Simple calculation, you can use it, and then you can add the details like a logic if you wanted to identify the highest number, lowest number, or rendering some information. So those details you can use the JavaScript. So for example, you have a Visualforce page. You have a Visualforce page. In this Visualforce page, you have something called as a input text. You have an input text where user is entering the data here. For example, user is entering the data. Let's assume they are entering the PAN card number. They are entering the PAN card number. And they are entering some PAN card number. Whenever they enter the PAN card number, now this data I wanted to capture in the JavaScript. This data I wanted to capture in the JavaScript. In case if I wanted to capture this data in the JavaScript, how do you use it is we have a document. Document is a class. Document is a class. In this class, we have a method which is called as a get element by ID. We have a get element by ID. By using this get element dot ID and then value, what we can do is we can get the value that is entered in the Visualforce page input text, whatever the user has entered. If you wanted to capture that value, you can get it by using the document.getElement by ID. Document.getElement by ID, and then you can capture the value. Now let me show you that. Now here, for example, let me go to the HTML. Now in the HTML, where is it? I wanted to search. Let's give a search here. Get element by ID. Get element by ID. Show the result of this HTML DOM. This is a part of the DOM. This is part of HTML DOM. In the HTML DOM, we have a document is the class. We have a document is the class. In this document class, we have so many methods are there. This is the HTML. This is the HTML. In this HTML, we have a class called as a document. In this document class, we have if you wanted to capture the value based on the ID, then you can use document.getElementID. Document.getElementID. Now here, for example, HTML, and then this is the body, H1, this is the H1, the document object, this is the H2, what are the normal object is there. Now in the paragraph, in the paragraph, I wanted to display some data here. I wanted to display some data. Now either I can retrieve the data or I can display the data. Either I can retrieve the data or I can display the data. Now here I have a paragraph. In this paragraph, in this paragraph, now for example, right now, if I execute this logic, let's click on run. What it is displaying the document object, which is the header 1, and header 2 is the get element by ID. The header 2 is get element by ID. And then we have a paragraph. Paragraph, nothing is displaying it. It just has the ID and the demo. For example, using the JavaScript, I wanted to display some data in the paragraph. Using the JavaScript, I wanted to display the data into the HTML. Either you can display the data into the HTML or you can display data into the Visualforce page. Both are same. Now, whenever we wanted to use the JavaScript within the HTML or within the Visualforce page, what we have to do is we have to implement a JavaScript within the tag called script. Within the tag called script /script /script. Now you need to add a script tag, open script and close script. Open script and then close script. And within this, I'm going to specify document dot get element by ID. Get element by ID. And which ID I'm referring here? I'm referring the ID. The ID name is demo. So let's paste the demo dot. I'm specifying the value. What are the here? In order to display the value, what I'm going to do is inner HTML equal to, I can specify here. Let's say this is Salesforce development course. This is Salesforce development course. Click on run. What it is displaying, this is Salesforce development course. Where it is displaying, it is displaying in the paragraph. It is displaying in the paragraph. So like that, I can display in this document dot element ID. There are many are there. Now let me show you. Now directly you can retrieve the value and store it into the one variable, right? Or else you can have a document ID dot style and color. If you wanted to add a style, you can do that. So within this document dot get element ID method returns the element with the specified value. In case if there is a no value, it returns the null. Now this method is the one of the most common method in the HTML DOM. Now here there are multiple. It supports for the multiple Chrome or multiple browsers. It is getting supported. Right, so here like this we have. So when you say document, if you wanted to understand more about the document, so in the HTML we have called as a HTML document. I'll paste this. So this is one of the assignment. Go through these documents today. Go through these documents. What are the documents we have? Add event listener. Go to the add event listener, create an attribute, create an element, right? And then go to the document element and go to the document element by ID, go to the document element by class name, get element by name, get element by email tag and has focus. And then you need to see about the URL. So these are the things which you need to go through this today. Right, go through this documentation today. So document object is, so basically this class is provided by the HTML. Document is provided by the HTML. Document is an object. Document is a class which is provided by the HTML. This is a root node of the HTML document. That means you have a here HTML document. You have a HTML document which is a very root level. This is a document object. In this document object, you can have a multiple child methods will be there. Multiple child methods will be there. One of the multiple child methods are there. One of the method name is get element by ID. Get element by ID. One of the method name is get element by ID. This is the method name. In this method, there are different parameters are there. In that method, there are different parameters are there. One is a value, one is a style, right? Then in our HTML, multiples are there. So multiple variables are there. Now here document object is a property of window object. Now example, let URL equal to window.document.url. Let URL equal to document.url. Document.url. Now you can see here what are the properties, methods that we have it, everything we can see here. So get element by ID. Get element by is returns the element that has the ID attribute with the specified value. Right? So this is what is the documentation says. Now that's the same thing which we are going to use it in the JavaScript. In the JavaScript document.getElement by ID. Whatever the name of the ID is there, that name of the ID, one of the variable is a dot value. One of the variable is a dot value. And then JavaScript always written inside the script. Always written inside the script. Now let's see the examples of this. Now let's go to the developer console. Now in the developer console, let me implement simple Visualforce page. Click on Visualforce page. Let's say here, this is the JS1 example. And in the Apex page, what I'm going to do is I'll add a Apex colon output label. Inside this output label, let's say I'm going to specify enter name. Now, for example, whenever the page is loaded, right now it is loading the page. Whenever the page is loaded, it is displaying the enter name. Now, but whenever it is loading, by default, I wanted to execute the JavaScript. On loading of the page, I wanted to execute the JavaScript. In case if you wanted to have that logic, write here script tag script, because always JavaScript is written within the script. Now within this script, let's say here I'm just specifying the alert equal to, let's say I'm saying the hello. So what will happen when I write within the script? I'm just writing the alert. So whenever I load the page, immediately the first thing is that JavaScript gets loaded. Immediately the JavaScript is loaded. Let's say hello. If I click on OK, then only the page gets open. For example, you have two output labels. Let's assume that this is the enter name and let's say enter password. I'm writing the script in between this output label. in between the output link. Now, how my logic gets executed? Now it is first it is displaying the hello, then it is displaying the enter name and enter password. Again, I am refreshing it. It is displaying the hello first, enter name, enter password. Whether you write between the tag or not, script is the one, whether you write at the starting or whether you write at the ending, whatever it might be, whether you are writing at the end or whether you are writing on the first or you are writing the script in between, the cursor, the execution of the logic is in the apex page. First, it will check is there any script is written. If the script is written, then execute the script. And in this script, there is no method. We are not calling any method. By default, we are saying here alert hello. Then this script gets executed initially, then it will go to the cursor to first line and then second line. Right, so this is by default how it goes. So whether you write an initial script is, you can mention it at the end or at the beginning or at the between. Wherever you have mentioned, the script tag is gets executed first, and if there are no methods inside this script, then what will happen? It will by default execute the logic at the first place. Then the cursor will go on to the second line of the Visualforce page. Now, for example, now this is the by default whenever the Visualforce page is loaded, by default I wanted to execute the method. By default I wanted to execute the JavaScript. Let's assume that I wanted to execute this logic only when I click on the button. Now let's assume that I have a button. Let me put a breakpoint here. Now here I have a button, apex colon, command button. Apex colon, command button. Inside this button, I have a value equal to, let's say, show alert. And then we have a on click equal to, let's say, show button. On click of that button, I'm going to call this method. Where is this method is implemented? This method is implemented. It has to be. Okay, it is giving an error. Let's add it here. Apex colon form. Right, so within this apex form is there, then we have a script. Okay. Now we have a method here. Now, who is calling this method? Visualforce is calling. But where it is implemented this method, either you need to implement this method in the apex in order to, whenever the user click on that button, if you wanted to execute the logic, you have to implement a apex method, or else you need to call the JavaScript. Now, if you want to call this method in the JavaScript, then how can we call it? Whenever we wanted to implement a method in the JavaScript, we always use the keyword called function, and then specify whatever the method name is there, just specify that. Function show button. Now in this function show button, I'm going to specify alert. Let's say this is Salesforce, or this is a JavaScript execution. This is a JavaScript execution. Alert is nothing but a pop-up. It's just a pop-up. There is a pop-up which is showing on the page. Now, let's save this. Now I have clicked on this. Now let me save. Now what is happening here? Whenever I click on this button here. Now whenever I refresh this page, I don't see any alert message. I don't see any alert message. Right, let me refresh this. Am I seeing the any alert message? I cannot see any alert message. But if I click on a show alert, now the pop-up box is coming. Because what is happening here, when I click on this show button, right? Initially, whenever the page is getting executed, it will execute this script. It will execute the script. Now, in this script, whatever the methods are there, whatever the methods are there, these methods will be sent to the Apex page. Now, these are the methods are available within the script. So, page will be storing these methods. Now it will execute the next line and the next line. Whenever user click on a button, it has a on click equal to show button. Then it will go to the page. Now it says that show button is the method that I have. Now it will first check, do I have a existing method of the show button? If there is a existing button of the show method, because this all the functions or all the methods, whatever is written here, it will be stored within the Apex page. It will first check, is there anything within the script? Now, if there is anything within the script, then it will try to execute it. It will try to execute it. Now, here, if I click on a show alert, now it executed, and this is the JavaScript execution. This is the JavaScript execution. Anybody, whoever is new to the JavaScript, any questions? Now, let me implement another Visualforce page. Click on Visualforce page. This is the f underscore JavaScript 2. This is JavaScript 2. Now, in this, I'm going to specify apex colon form. Within this apex colon form, I'm going to add on click is nothing but what are you doing here? There is a multiple options are there. Now here, on click. What is mean by on click? Now you have a on click, on complete, on BL click, on focus, on key down, on key press, right? On key up, on mouse down, on mouse over, mouse out, mouse up, on mouse up. That means user is doing some action on this. Either user is hovering on this, or user is clicking on this. There is an action is happening on the button click, on the mouse over, right? On the mouse down, right? On the complete. Whenever I click on this, on the complete, whenever I complete it, then what should happen? So whenever the user is doing it, the cursor, whenever this cursor is wherever it is going, that means it is a on. On, and what I'm doing button. What I'm doing on the button, I'm clicking on this. So on click. So which is nothing but whenever it is clicked on the button, what should happen? So which is show button, which is show button, I'm saying it. Now let's take another example. Now I have written the Apex form. Inside the Apex form, now I'm going to what is the question? Why do we need an action? For example, you wanted to calculate some button. You need to calculate the greatest value or lowest value, or you wanted to increase the number count. In that case, you need to click on that button, right? What do you mean by action? Do I have an action here? Action is, it's a different one. It's a different one. Action is what it is saying that apex pages dot action. Where is on button is where it is like when we are clicking on the button. Now this is, I'm linking the apex pages of the action. Apex pages of the action is, for example, if you want to perform a default Salesforce save action. Default Salesforce save action, then you can say action. Action is nothing but the Salesforce pages or Salesforce, what are the default buttons are there. When if you wanted to use it, then we can use the action, which we have already seen this example action. Right? Day before yesterday, we have created a new account. When we created the new account, did not we create the file open resource? Now vf underscore create new account. Now here, what did we use? We used the action. Why we have used the action? Because I wanted to call the standard apex page functionality. Now, if you wanted to call the standard apex page functionality, that's how you can use the action. But here, I do not want to use the apex page functionality. I wanted to implement my own execution. My own execution on click of this button. I wanted to execute the custom logic. Any other questions? Okay. So let's move on. Now, for example, I'm creating the new Visualforce page. In this, I have written the Apex page, Apex form, and then within that, I'm going to ask the user to enter the input, enter the some data. For example, input text. Now, this input text, I have a few variables, which is called as a, let's say, and let me give the ID here. ID equal to name. Now let's click on save. Click on preview. Now this is the available. For example, if user is entering some PAN card number, something is they are entering here. Whenever they are entering the some PAN card number, right? As soon as the user enter any letter, as soon as user enter any letter, I wanted to show alert message, or I wanted to show the data, or I wanted to capture the value. Whatever the user is entering, even single letter also, whenever they enter the single letter, I wanted to capture the value. I wanted to capture the value. Now, how can we do that? We can do it using the apex colon input text. Right, so let's see, now we are capturing it. But here, as soon as the user enter, I wanted to capture the TG. Whatever the user so far entered, those all letters I wanted to capture. Now, how can I implement? Now, that means whenever there is a change is happening on the input field, whenever there is a change is happening on the input field, on that input field, I wanted to capture the data. Now, that means whenever there is a on change of the field, I wanted to call the function. I wanted to call the function. Now, let's say this capture data. Capture data is a function that I have. Now let me implement this. Let's say here, let me implement on top script. Let's close the script. Small letter S. Capital letter does not work. Small letter. So function. Now here, capture data. Inside the capture data, I'm going to implement a logic. Let's say here alert. I'll just check whether it is hitting or not. Alert. This is script. right? Click on save. Now let me see whether it is working or not. So on change of this, I wanted to call this alert message. I wanted to call this alert message. Now let's click on save, refresh, and then let me enter T.
Ma'am, there is typo in alert.
Alert spelling.
Okay. So click on save. Now refresh. Now let's type here. Nothing is happening. Nothing is
Just change the value.
happening. Capture, alert. Now on change. Okay. So this is the on change. On change, I wanted to, let's assume that instead of a alert, I wanted to show you the value. I wanted to show you the value. Now, if I wanted to capture the value, what is entered in this, if I wanted to capture the value, what is entered here. Now, in that case, what I'll do is document dot get element by ID. By ID. Now, whatever the name I have it, I wanted to call this name. Now, there is some problem here. It won't work. No, but I'll show you this why it is not working. Value. I'll capture this value. Document dot get element ID, name, and then value. And this value I'm going to store it into the one variable. Let's say this is PAN number. PAN number equal to document dot get element by ID, name dot value. And then I'm going to print this alert. Alert. And then I'll say whatever the PAN number is there. This is alert. And then I'm going to add the PAN number here. Let's click on save. Now, so whatever the user has entered here in the input text, I'm capturing the document dot get element by ID, and then I'm passing the name, that is the ID name, because it is by ID. It is by ID, get element by ID. So whatever the ID name is there, that ID name I have to pass it dot value. Now let's click on here, refresh. Now let me enter some value here. Now anything is happening. Basically, it is not able to capture the data. It is not able to capture the data. Whatever the data is there. Whatever the data is there, which is not capturing the information. Apex, Visualforce page, nothing is there. Okay. No, that's fine. No, it is not captured. The reason is it is not able to identify the get element by ID. Get element by ID. Now, how is my this logic is implemented? Now, this is the complete logic, right? Input. This is the input and this is the input field, right? Before that we have a form and before that we have a script. We have a script and this inside the script we have a function and then whatever the variable is there, that variable. Now what it is saying that equal to $0, equal to $0. So it is not able to identify the name. Why it is not able to identify the name? Name, how it is converted the Visualforce page. Name, they have converted name equal to some ID 0 colon ID 2 colon name. ID 0 colon ID 2 colon name. So Salesforce is converting this, whatever the ID is there, the ID which we have given, I have just given the ID as a name. But what it is converted into the previous on top of the ID, whatever the different tags are there. That means input tag is, this input tag is within the form, and this form is within the page. This form is within the page. That means page is the header. Within that page, I have a form. Here page, within that I have a form, and within that form I have a name. That means after two, this is a 0, 1, this is the first one, then I have a name. Then I have a name. So Salesforce will convert that ID into the here 0 colon, the what are the first one is their colon name. So that means after two parent, one parent is a page and second parent is a form, and the third one is actual the name of the ID, name of the ID. So directly if you pass the name, it won't work. Directly if you pass the name, it won't work. So either you have to pass it in the curly braces, exclamation, dollar, you need to specify component dot name. Component dot name. Now let's see what happening here. Now here I'll enter some value. Now still it is not working. Still it is not working. Now let me do one thing. Now what I'll do is instead of a dollar exclamation dollar component, what I'll do is I'll give a ID to this ID equal to whatever the ID is there, ID equal to, let's say this is the page, and here ID equal to, I'm going to specify this is a form, this is FM. So now here I'm going to specify PG colon FM colon name and click on save. Now let's see whether it is capturing or not. It is not capturing. Capture data, get element by ID, document PG, FM, and the name. Perfectly fine. Let me do one thing. Let me add this. Let me add this script cut within this form. And after the input text, I'm going to add it. Click on save. It's not adding. Capture data, ID name. No, instead of name, I'll give it as a NM. Click on save. Document dot get element. If it is a case sensitive, also it will not work. If it is a case sensitive, also it will not work. So all small letters document and then get. Let me go here, get element by ID. Now let me copy this. Click on save.
Ma'am,
Perfect.
on change attribute there is on change attribute, right? Capture data there is semicolon will be there. Capture data method and semicolon.
Where you are saying capture data?
On change attribute is there, no? There we have to mention semicolon.
No, it's not required. So value, and then this is a closing here. Fine. So what I'll do is also I'll add a alert. Alert of document dot get element by ID. Let's see whether it is capturing this. Now let's enter some value here. It's not capturing the value. Here it is. It's taking some time. Object, click OK. Now there is a information. Okay. Perfect. It is working. Okay. Let's say here new Salesforce. Now if I remove the cursor, then it is going to capture the details and it says that this is a alert new Salesforce. Click on OK. Now for example, let's say I'm going to specify here Wipro and then click on tab, then it is going to display that this is the alert Wipro. Now I'm able to capture whatever the user has entered. For example, user has entered some PAN card number. Now it is going to display the message. This is the alert and here is the PAN card number. It is displaying the PAN card number. So this is working fine. Now let me see, it should work for the dollar component also. Now let me do one more time. Here instead of PG colon FM colon NM. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add curly braces, exclamation, dollar component dot NM. Click on save. Now the component, it should refer the component. Now this is also should work here. Let's say this is PAN card. And let's say this is PAN. I'm going to give the alert message. Here it is a PAN. This is a second alert. And this is a first alert. Let's see. Let's click on save. Now refresh. Now I'll specify here PWC. Click on tab. Now this is the first alert displaying the PWC and the second alert is also displaying the PWC. Okay, this is working fine. Either you can give a PGFMNM, right? You can get the value, or else if you do not specify, like you have a so much inside, like you have a page, right? You have a page is there, form is there, input is there, and below so many tags are there. If you do not want to specify the long length of it, you can specify the curly braces exclamation dollar component dot nm dollar component dot nm. Fine. So practice this JavaScript today. So whatever I have explained, practice it. So mostly use the alert message in order to display the data, or get the data, right? And or also if you wanted to display the data inside the HTML, right? Practice this, whatever we have explained here in the HTML document. Now you have it. One is a add event listener. One is add event listener. You should be knowing this. Practice this add event listener and then create element. Top type. And then you have it get element by ID and get element by class name, get element by name, get element by tag name, and then has focus. Open, and the query selector all. Now this query selector all will get it in, you will get it in the LWC. But try to understand this, we will cover anyway in the LWC. Now that's all. And then you have a remove event listener. Now, whatever in the HTML, we have these topics. Try to understand these topics. Mostly in the Visualforce page, we will use only these four. Get element by ID, get element by class name, get element by name, get element by tag name, and has focus, we will use it, has focus and open in case if you want to focus on the specific Visualforce element or a input text or anywhere you wanted to have a focus, we will use the has focus. And then open in case if you wanted to open any specific page, then in that case you will use the open. So these are the ones which are used for the Visualforce page. So practice today. Right, similarly, you need to practice the talk type. These are the basic one for the Visualforce page. Then we will see tomorrow rest of the things and how to create a Visualforce page link.
From object manager, button actions and link.
How to create a Visualforce page link, button action and link. New button or a link button. Now take a homework. Write a program using the Visualforce page to create a new contact. From the Visualforce page, you should be creating a new contact and replace the standard new button to the custom Visualforce page on the contact object. On the contact, we have a standard new button. We have a standard new button, and that standard new button should be override with the custom Visualforce page. If you click on a new button on the contact, then it should open up the custom Visualforce page. And in the custom Visualforce page, it has a contact, last name, title, department, birth date, phone number, mobile, email. These are the things which are available. You take a note of it. Taken the notes of it. Okay. Next one is move to write a program using the Visualforce page to display the following details on the account record. So implement a Visualforce page to display the Salesforce image, logged in user details on the account record. That means you need to place this Visualforce page onto the account record. Take notes of it. Done. Okay. Next, write a program using the Visualforce page to display a link on the lead record page. Implement a Visualforce page to display a link on the lead record page. The link that you have to display is trailhead link. You need to display the trailhead link. On click of that link, it should open. It should redirect it to the new tab. When you click on the link, it should be redirected to the new tab, and the new tab, it should open the page trailhead link. It should be open. And this is the trailhead link. Practice it. I'm providing the trailhead link. That's all for today.